Dear Venerable Sisters and Brothers, Dhamma friends, we are going to take time for the day's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent, please. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Katami tayo dhamma pahatabba kama tanha bhava tanha vibhava tanha ti. Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, yesterday we started the second phase of this Dasuththara Sutta, whereby Venerable Sariputta is handling and tackling what is to be gotten rid of, what is to get rid of. That is basically tanha. Tanha is the proximate cause for this sansaric journey or the cause for the suffering. And when you go into pragmatic side or detailed of this particular tanha, it is being presented as 3 tiers or 3 layers or 3 grades. The first what we see is the most gross form or most conspicuous form even a beginner can understand. So whenever the beginner going to understand this, the first form known as kama tanha, he or she may understand even successfully you tackle the kama tanha sphere, you are not completely done with tanha as such, but you will be transformed into another paradigm of tanha, that means subtle form, that is called bhava tanha. Or in a normal jargon we can say, we must learn the art of how to replace kama tanha with bhava tanha. That means kama tanha is very gross form and it is sometimes transgressional and creating the social problems as well as your physical and verbal misdeeds. So when and where you replace it with bhava tanha, they are not so aggressive, but still another tanha. So the way we can put it in a strategic way is, you must understand, you must be happy to get rid of kama tanha by making use bhava tanha. Bhava tanha also another kind of tanha. So how can we love, how can we appreciate, how can we glad which bhava tanha is a hard thing for a disciplinarians. Because they hate tanha as such, so therefore they want to get rid of tanha immediately, one shot, overnight, by listening one talk and sitting one sitting posture. But practically that is not so. Practically you can get rid of the gross form, kama tanha, then you have to make use bhava tanha, and you know still tanha. It's another form of tanha, it's a subtle form of tanha. So how to, when and where bhava tanha happen instead of kama tanha, how to facilitate it, that is the point, that irrational thing, radical thing, and kind of a electric way, you have to facilitate it. Even then, when and where you recognize this is bhava tanha and it is better in terms, because it is not kama tanha, it is the tool to replace kama tanha. And now I am with bhava tanha, you are not going to foster it, you are going to fertilize it, you are not going to feed it, you will be replace it with vibhava tanha, still subtle form, and therefore you are using bhava tanha as a tool, medium, and then replace it with bhava tanha. When it is happening, your personality, your likings and disliking, your other traits also refining. So we have to understand Tanna is appear in one unit form in the scriptures, but when you are trying to get rid of, to understand its different shades, nuances, and calibers, and gradation is there. So first time you have to understand what kind it is presently I am dealing with. That diagnosis is very important, and you have to understand you can't get rid of in one shot. Naturally what happens is you understand the gross form and replace it with the subtle one, and it will again replace it the subtlest form, and that is how you are doing away, and that understanding need pragmatism, utility value, practical sense, and definitely the disciplinarian, accusation kind of people, they never appreciate this pragmatic form. They want to get rid of everything. So therefore they never, they do not know. They can't appreciate how can one make use bhavatanha, because it is tanha. So therefore they find it is logically or philosophically or rationally impossible. And this part is never been explained, otherwise it has been partly tackled in Advaita Vedanta and Upanishad and some other theism. But the Buddha gave very nice, replace the gross thing by subtle and replace the subtle by subtlest. And when it is happening, you can explain this replacement theory, idang nissa, idang pajahata, that is kind of a relativity. When and where you are putting yourself into this relativity theory and try to understand the most gross form as kamatanna, and it is replacing bhavatanna with vibhavatanna, your approach to the materiality also undergoing the same kind of shedding off of the old rotten skin that is happening in the reptiles. Shedding off of the rotten skin, and then inside there's another skin happen. Later that will be replaced by another skin. That is what you find this simile, and that can be explained through the feelings also. Most gross feeling will be replaced by subtle feeling, and that will be replaced by subtlest feeling. And that same thing you can explain by the perception. The perception, most gross perception, where we use for communication and all the kind of thing, languages and all the kind of will be replaced by a subtle form of perception, and this will be replaced by a most subtlest form. And the other way, we can explain the same thing by volition. How much you are volitionally involved as far as the kamatanna is there. And how to get into the bhavatanna level of volitional activity, willful activity is somewhat subtle. And how, when and where time permits, to go to the vibhavatanna level of volitional activities, and then you can see replacement in the volition or sankhara level also. And most difficult part is how to understand it in terms of consciousness. How is the consciousness related with kamatanna, and the very consciousness, whenever it is tackling with bhavatanna, the consciousness itself becomes subtler. And when you are ready to tackle the vibhavatanna, consciousness go to the very deepest level. That means from the outermost crux, it come to the center. So different people understand in different ways. Some people understand in material form. Some people understand it as feelings. Some people understand it as perception, volitional, consciousness. So when you read 5 suttas or discourses, you can see different facets. I would like to quote the Pottapada Sutta. It's a very nicely talking about that in terms of materiality as well as in the perception. And the sutta start in such a way, one day the Buddha set out for his normal alms rounds, and he found it's too early. Then you go to a close by monastery. It is not the Buddhist monastery, run by Pottapada. He's a friend of Buddha, and he goes to the Pottapada, and while go there, they were talking and chatting with disciples, and seeing the Buddha coming, Pottapada says, please observe noble silence. The Gautama, the Buddha is coming, and if you wish him to come again and again, maintain silence. He do not like this clamor and clatter and kind of thing. So when they come, calm down, Buddha here. Earlier they were chattering, now it's calmed down. Then the Buddha go and ask, what was the talk you were talking about, and what is the one you stopped due to my appearance? The Pottapada says, Bhante, that is also something good to talk about, but I have a specific question for you. So therefore, we will leave it aside, later we can discuss. I wanted to ask a question, please take a seat and take time. Then the Buddha is forgetting about this, coming to the silence and ask question. He says, last time we met together in the community hall, for example, and there were very learned people, they were asking, Adhisanya Nirodha, how is the getting rid of this perception? If the perception is one of the 5 aggregates, one has to do away with it. That means they know it. But ask how to see the cessation of it. How to see is the tapering off, reduction. And some people came out with different ideas. Some people told that gross perception becomes subtle and subtlest without any reason, and it is irrational thing. So therefore you can't predict, you can't have a formula. Perception comes and perception goes. It is without any cause. And the second thing, one person told that the celestial beings, very powerful, they come and put perception into your mind, and when and where they put the perception, you behave accordingly. And whenever they remove that kind of influence through medium, you become normal. So your perception is manipulated by celestial beings, very powerful. And the third people told, leave aside the powerful celestial being. Some monks and some mendicants, they are very powerful. They can influence your perception, and they can put some notions into your thoughts, thinking. And whenever it is not there, you become normal. Otherwise, you are abnormal. Therefore, there are some powerful people, souls, and they can manipulate your perception. And the fourth people told, no, perception is the soul. When you are we have the perception, you are living. When the perception is not there, you are not living. That is your soul. These are the 4 things, Bhante. Our discussion was not conclusive. 4 concepts. But I was thinking behind, in the group, had you being there, you would have given a very clear answer, but at that time we concluded with these 4. Then the Buddha says, in the first place, I say it is not without a reason, and that reasoning is the worst out of these 4. So I deny, but anyway, the perception is utterly depending on your restraint, moral restraint, concentration restraint, wisdom restraint. By restraint only, you can go into the gross to the subtle. And Buddha gave very nice, and one by one, the stages, perception level. And when it is happening, Pottapada is listening very carefully, and he is asking, how is Bhante this perception and the soul concept or egotistic idea come into being? Then the Buddha asks, what do you mean by soul? What do you mean by the egotistic idea? He says, I mean this body. This is the soul. This is the gross body, rupi, that is substantial, concrete thing. Chatum Mahabhutiko, it's made out of earth element, air element, and likewise 4 elements, and it is consumed gross food. And that is what I call Attabhava. Then the Buddha says, if you take this as the soul, my theories never go with that. So therefore, you are talking something, I am talking different. Then the Pottapada says, no, Bande, I got mistake. This is not what I am talking about. I am talking about this material. Whenever mind goes into the in-breath and out-breath, for example, whenever the mind comes into the body or materiality as one object and you get absorbed and you get into the jhanic kind of thing, that is what I call soul. Or it is manomaya, psychic. And pachanga sabbanga pachanga samannagi. It is just like a negative of the same body when you close your eyes and when the mind is absorbed into material object, you come to a different kind of a soul or egotistic idea. That is what I say, it is religious. Then the Buddha says, if that is the soul you are taking as the norm, my explanation and yours is not going. And then he says, no, Bande, I am talking about the arupi attapatilabha, that means in the subtle materiality. And when you go there, everything is nothing but a perception. Wherever you go, there you are. What you see, that you are. Then the Buddha says, still I don't agree with you. It's two different things you are talking about. When the Buddha is leaving for the Pindapata when the time comes, all the disciples start to hack Pottapada telling, whatever the Buddha telling you are agreeing, how can you be our teacher? You must have kind of a counter-argument. He also teacher, you also teacher, you are telling yes. And likewise you start hacking. Then Pottapada is going to defend, telling he is an omniscient one, he is a very good one, coming itself is good. So that is why I appreciate. And there was one particular, Chittahatta, another disciple, 2 days time he says, come to the Pottapada, what about visiting Buddha again? We can discuss from the point we stop it. And because this Chittahatta is a very bright person, he got some points. But Pottapada can't answer. Without Pottapada he can't go to the Buddha, so ultimately both of them come. That's the second episode in the picture. So they are, after explaining some, the Pottapada is asking, what will happen, Bante, when the Arahant is after the death? Will there be a soul? Or no soul? Or soul and no soul? Or no, not soul, no soul? What out of that? Then the Buddha says, I am not answering that kind of question. So likewise he is asking, keep on, but it is not relevant. Ultimately Buddha says, I am sorry. According to your mentality, you can't understand Dhamma. Because always you see the problem through the soul. But Chittahatta Sariputta, the disciple, is very sharp. He is asking very nice presentation. He presents the crux, what we are going to discuss. He says, Bante, this is the way I see it. Within our soul, there are 3 layers. There is the conventional soul. We are living as the mothers and fathers and the family relationship, and that we maintain our body, we eat and we have the material body. That is, we use sensuous pleasure or sensuous gratification. So we accept this is the most gross form of our soul. And even yet that is a gift. Even that, it's an endowment. It is due to the past good karmic forces only you get this human body. Attapatilabha, it is a gift. So when we are living, of course, we try our best to satisfy the ear, the eye, the nose, the tongue, the body and everything. No one is happy. Everyone is in vacuum. Everyone is utterly, bitterly waiting to have a better. So that means it is indicated, this olarika attapatilabha, even though it is attapatilabha, no one is satisfied. So therefore some people, spiritually or religiously, they take refuge of one particular object and apply the mind again and again, the in-breath, out-breath, in-breath, out-breath. Or left leg, right leg. Or your 4 elements. Or maybe repulsivity, whatever may be. Imagine your mind become familiar with that particular object or sign and then get absorbed into that. And such circumstances, you are in the higher level of satisfaction, irrespective of the materiality. It is not coming out of your eye, not through the visual objects. That satisfaction or contentment coming not through the ear, through sounds, not for the nose, through smells, not for the tongue, through taste, not through the body, through tactile sensation, but kind of an immaterial kind of pleasure. And it's a kind of a alignment. As far as you are in this alignment, you feel, and there it is the psychic kind of soul. And it is having the negative of this whole body, but it is just psychic. And when that happens, you see people can't come into that because they are utterly or desperately trying their best to satisfy their eye by visual objects. Desperately trying their best to satisfy their ear. So much so they get enraged and carried away by this sensuous desire, gratification. But if you strategically apply the mind to a particular object, neutral, repetitive object, then you can get absorbed. And then you find immaterial pleasure, that is called Niramisa Sukha. Amisa Sukha is through the visual objects, sounds, smells, taste and the tactile. But now it's absence. Your eyes are closed, no visual light. Your eyes, your ears entertaining noble silence. And smell not entertain. The taste and talking not entertain. Body also, volitionally you are not moving, keep the body as such and be aware. And then come into the second patilabha, atta patilabha. It's very rare, or less than 1% of the population can go into that, even if you try, because of this defilements or obsessional kind of defilements or nivaranas. But it's possibility. The Buddha to be on the 7th day as the Prince Siddhartha went into that absorption. And Alara Kalama, Uddhakarama Putta, the teachers of the Siddhartha, Buddha to be went into that. So therefore it is, human knowledge is aware of it. And there's a still further one, that very object also disappeared. And you are in the utterly, in the fine matter or immaterial kind of thing. And at that level, the utterly, world is a concept, or world is a notion, it's a perception, and soul also perception. Your object also became just a perception, so everything is perception. In is perception, out is perception. Object is perception, your noting mind is perception. So you can understand, under such circumstances, you are not even immaterial pleasure, you are kind of according to these Venerable Sariputtas, avitakka vichara samadhi. You are not applying thoughts. And there is no knowledge about anything, because everything is equal. And there are 3 things, and nicely he explained, that is now we are talking about the Chittahata. Bhante, when and where your mind is in this gross form, it cannot comprehend what does it mean by jhanic pleasure. As far as your mind is engrossed in these family matters and the conventional matters, you purposefully cut off from this manomaya and sanyamaya. Imagine, when and where you come to the manomaya, that means jhanic absorption, you can't entertain the conventional body as well as the immaterial body. Now you get absorbed that. Imagine when you go to the arupi, that means you go to the very subtle matter, you can't entertain, you can't comprehend the outer gross form, that is concrete body, or sanyamaya, manomaya, you are sanyamaya, so they are exclusively different. Within one person, through your discipline, when and where you are disciplined or restrain morality, and then if you are managed to understand this gross body, and it is, you can keep completely without volition observe it, you can feel gross body. Under such circumstances, you can't go to the jhanic experience because your mastery is not enough. And when and where you apply concentration restrainment, you can get into the body or into the materiality or into the object, and there you get absorbed and you get galvanized. You can't think about your mother and father. You can't think about the future and the past. You can't think about the well-being on this and that. Then that means you are no more in the jhanic pleasure. Yena manjanti tato tang hoti anyata. When and where you are going to think about, by very thinking you get eccentric. So if you wish to maintain jhanic, don't entertain this conventional thing. And from the jhanic also, if you can meditate up to the end of the object that you have selected, now you can go to the boundless situation. You can go to the infinitum. You can go to the nothingness. No noting, no knowing. Under such circumstances, you can't entertain rupi jhana or the gross body, so exclusively different. So therefore, within a person, according to one's own restraint, you can go to just like outer shell and the middle and to the core, like 3 layers. So if you do not know all the 3, you are not a human. If you are living on the outer crux, you are a beast. Because this is the way the animal world is. So, and they are not trying even go to the jhanic experience or immaterial jhana. So as far as you do not know how to be mindful on your materiality and keep the mindfulness with the one object and consider this is also as an equilibrium, you can put up at least maybe half an hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. That means you know only the reptilian mind, amygdala, emotional, fighting, reacting, assuming. So this is the way, this is the world. And if you know, it's a hell of a friction, it's a hell of a misunderstanding, it's a hell of a mad world. So you solitude yourself and get the refuge of the materiality, go and absorb into that. There you can see the outside world is fighting. Who cares? I am in the jhanic experience. It is like you are within the bunker. War is going. Missiles are going, bullets are going. You are within the bunker or you are in a bulletproof cabin. So you are using your body to make the shell, just like a turtle. You suck the limb inside and you're secured. Even the jackal come, even the wolf come, they can't help. They can't damage you because you suck in. So that is the second kind of experience. You can do it as a human. And it is an alternative to these worldly things or this conventional thing, but it is strategic thing. You have to be very systematic. You have to apply mind repetitively on this neutral object. Apply mind repetitively on this repetitive object. And then only you can get the absorption, and it is nothing special because human knowledge know about that. That is we call rupi jhana. Some people go into that to the end of the particular object you have selected as your pivotal point or the reference point. That also completely disappeared. You can go to endless, infinitum state, and there are no me and not me difference. You can't, even nothing to note because everything appears like a flux. Everything is just a flow, just a flux, just a frothing. So if you can maintain it, it's an alternative to the conventional world or the jhanic materialistic pleasure. It is called the subtle material sphere or no material or immaterial. So when this thing happens, only you can understand you are making use your human potential or possibilities. So whatever the thing you represent, you know other 2 possibilities are there. As far as you are in the conventional, you know you are not in the jhana, you know you are not in the arupa jhana. If you go to the rupa jhana, you know you have the conventional form. That is you as a mother or father or whatever may be the social status, and you can go to the arupa jhana. And if you are in the Arupa jhana also, you know, you can, whenever the jhanic combination or equilibrium is not there, you come back to your outer shell, or you come back to the gross form, or you can go through material form, whatever may be. All three are available. When you select one, that collapse, others disappears. This is the potential. This is the humanity. And how one must be skillful to understand these, at least these three possibilities. That means how much he must be spiritual, how much he must be religious, how much he must be disciplined to have all the three. So when we are meditating, I don't know whether I got the point really clear. The way I interpret is, sometimes when you are doing residential retreat, sometimes when you are try to focus your attention, for example, on the breath, you can see the calmness is there still. And without forgetting about the breath and noting, you can directly plug into that utter calmness or utter infinitum, and then as far as you are there, noting is not necessary, breath is not necessary, nothing, directly plug into that. That is because of your past memory, because of your past momentum. Or sometimes, if it is not so clear, you know you have to little brush with your primary object, and once the primary object disappears, you know your path is to the infinitum or sunyata or nothingness. Or sometimes you find your body is not allowing it. Your mother is sick, or your child is sick. Oh, problem. Then you have to understand, now I am with the Olarikattavatilava. Under such circumstances, use gross form. When and where that permits, when and where that technique is working, you see, you can just see through the Olarikattavatilava, then you are qualified to go to the Manomayattavatilava, then you have to go to Manomayattavatilava, season it little, and then you can go to the Sannyamayattavatilava. So you must not worry thinking that now we are starting with the very Montessori level, or beginner's level. No, this is the way it is alternative. And then within this world, you are the human world, celestial being and supreme being. And nothing to worry about the omnipresent God, but you are the God. You have a choice. According to your restraint, you can select each one or the other thing. Then you know your human potential. Then you are the Buddha is the same. Then you are not a slave to this Olarikattavatilava. You are not a slave to the Manomayattavatilava. You are not slave to the Sannyamayattavatilava, because there are three options, three possibilities. Not necessarily you must be totally with the Sannyamayattavatilava, that means total nothingness. So under such, you may come back to the outer shell and see, I am Dhammajiva, no problem. You meet yourself. You become self-conscious. Yes, this body is me. It is not a backward journey. It's a possibility. When you go there, you have to understand, you are no more in a jhanic experience. My mother is such, father is such, I have so and so. No problem. But I know how to start from there and go into the other subtle layers. And that, whenever you understand it, you see the humanity or the birth, human birth itself is Nibbana, itself is enlightenment. But we don't know, we are always meddling and tackling with the outer layer. So therefore we have no chances to go in, because our problem with the parents, problem with our country, problem with our religion, problem with this and that. We are so obsessed with this utter nonsense from the monk's point of view. And ultimately you are writing books and telling, oh, how can I meditate when my mother is sick? Or my child is with asthma. Or kind of thing. Ultimately you find a lot of reasons to escape the present moment. So Buddha is not telling, no, you are wrong. He says, if you are in the Olarikattavatilava, that is it. But mind you, you have other forms also, whenever you go there, your thinking and your rationalization and the inference is different. So, under this situation, yes, I also will come and help you, but don't try to make a the permanent, everlasting situation. You can go different stages. And when that happens, your perspective, your attitude to the materiality, your attitude to the feelings, your attitude to the perception, your attitude to your volitional activities, and your attitude to the me and not me, you can see how quickly it is changing. Within one sitting, you can have 20-30 cycles. At a time you are in the Olarikatta Patilabha level. At a time you are in the Sanyamaya. At a time you are in the Manomaya. It's changing, and you are not going to say, I am so and so. Because they are different episodes or different evolutionary stages. And you have to appropriately understand which one is appropriate for you according to the circumstances. And when this is come into being, often, whenever the explanation goes, whenever you, most of the problem, one of the, I would say, yogis, they may understand, they can absorb and then get into, or they can familiarize with, they can master one particular object, for example, sitting, in breath and out breath, or walking, left leg and the right leg. And once you mastered, imagine when it disappeared into nothingness, your breath disappeared, your bodily configuration disappeared, and if you know, gross, at the beginning the breath was very gross, before disappearing it became somewhat subtle, and then ultimately became subtlest, unperceivable. When that happened, exactly the same thing happened to your body. When the breath is gross, body is gross. When the breath is subtle, body is subtle. When the breath is subtlest, body is also no more. So when these three happens, your mind, rational mind says, more than the subtle breath, subtlest is good. More than the subtle understanding of the body sensation, most unperceivable level is good. That some people think they prefer this sunyata or infinitum as an achievement, as a better position than the subtle form. The subtlest is better. But those who are happy with the materiality, this is subtlest form, is you are nowhere, no address, finished. Insomnia, or not insomnia, or Parkinson, gone. So to have a little bit of a reference point is good. So these are the two types of humanity. When compared to the materiality, some people understand no matter, immaterial is better. Some people understand immateriality, your identity gone. So who is going to throw a party after becoming enlightened? So therefore they wanted to have some kind of thing. So when these happen, that is called Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatana. So I know you will go home and telling I am in Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatana to your family members, and definitely they will jam their mind. Not that in my idea I am telling, sometimes Sanya is there, sometimes no Sanya. Neither no perception, no perception, neither no perception. So when it happens, at the time you see materiality, at the time nothing. And you can see they are reciprocal each other. When they happen, Venerable Ananda is asking, Bhante, is this the state one can go into the Nibbana? No, Buddha says still not. Because still there's a subtle desire to the materiality or immateriality can happen. Some people say nothingness is better when compared to the little bit of materiality. Some people say little bit of materiality better when compared to the nothingness, because you have no reference point. And therefore, imagine a state, you compare both these states equal way. You have little sometime and by itself it is disappearing. And again disappearing, again appearing. Again disappearing, again appearing. Very quickly it is happening. So under such circumstances, if you let your mind to not to be judgmental, just see, again the breath appears and by itself it is disappearing. Again it appears, again disappearing. And the moment you develop the equipoise mind, or sometimes it is being called the unshaken mind, by its little bit of materiality or immateriality. So that attitude, the appearance of the materiality is utterly by cause and effect. The disappearance also not by noting and knowing, by itself it is disappearing. Out of this disappears, it again the breath appears. So when it is happening, let that happen, repetitively happening, reciprocal way. Sometimes little bit of materiality, sometimes nothing. Sometimes it becomes very gross also. But everything happening without noting and knowing. And the day you recognize them in an indiscriminated way, little bit of materiality, little bit immateriality, the rational mind cannot comprehend it. Have and have not. Both are the same. And that part, the Buddha explained as tatata. Tatata is suchness. You develop your restraint up to a certain level and you know how to look at the subtle matter and no matter. Subtle matter, no matter, they happen by itself and you never take the responsibility, this is good, this is better, or this is good, this is better. When that is happening one day, your discrimination, your partial judgment or sectarianism, the least part also will wear out and you can see both are the same. Having matter or no matter. Because it is happening by its own cause and effect. It is not your will. It is not your volition. And you are a neutral observer. Long you see when such a thing happen, if you are going to claim, I did it, egotistic idea happen. If you are going to say matter is better than immaterial, then the conceit or the measurement can happen. And if you are going to grab all immateriality with respect to the materiality, desire can happen. And if you are going to grab all materiality with respect to the immateriality, the desire can happen. Not allowing any chance of the desire, that means tanha, or conceit, mana, or ditthi, when it is happening, you see it's a completely natural phenomena, or universal law, or it's a mind law. Things are appearing and disappearing, and this is what happened in the world systems also. Buddha says, a world system appear and world system disappear. There is no cursor. There is no omnipotent, omnipresent God. They are happening in a, the accumulating way and dismantling way. Again, accumulating, again dismantling. Exactly the way sanya is coming and sanya is going. And if you can observe, that is called tatata. This tatata, that means the suchness, is not a rational mind. Rational mind is always decisive, always assuming, always judgmental. And the most important thing I found in the practical way is, you cannot comprehend, you cannot master this tatata at the kama tanha level. You can't comprehend it in the manomaya level. You must meditate up to the sanyamaya level. Everything is nothing but the perception. And mano pubbangama dhamma, mano settha manomaya. Mind is the forerunner. Mind is the important thing and everything is manomaya. Everything is mind-made. It is not relevant at the kama tanha level. It is not relevant at the bhava tanha level. It's only relevant in the very subtle form. So when you go up to that level, that practically or meditatively you are qualified. But still your crafty mind going to say, have, when compared to the not have. So just make your final restraint not to carry it away by the having or not having, give a equipoised, equal judgment. Of course, it is no judgment, of course. You just observe them. You can see have is going to end up with the not having is going to have the have. So when that happens, you are qualified to understand cause and effect relationship. Or reciprocal way, the matter and no matter or energy, they are interchanging. And they are, the cause is personalizing, then you can say omnipotent God is doing, that is the will of the God or will of the Brahma. But the Buddha says, no, this is the nature, this is the natural phenomena. Moment you claim it, you get committed. You get the judgmental mind. You get the good and the bad. So therefore, don't get committed. Just observe it, but keep that bloody view in view it all the time. Things are arising and passing away, arising and passing away. So it is naturally, the observing into that arising and passing away is torturing, burning, suffering. And if you deny it, and if you select anything, it is more torturing than this is. This is the least amount of thing. So what kind of discipline you must have, bring the phenomena up to this very subtle form and keep that in view with. Even if it is not going to give a moral boost, ego run or ego trip. Even if it is not going to give any judgmental material, even if it is you are not going to take that share or this share and having it. So whenever it happening, you see how transient they are. What a flux or what a frothing thing happen. And if you are going to say this is me, you are the person suffering. What you have to do is you are disclaim this is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul, because it is happening by its own accord. So, therefore, getting rid of tanha, you have to do in the pragmatic way. Kama tanha, the first and foremost you have to understand the practical part I try to convince is, in order to get rid of kama tanha, you must have another kind of tanha, bhava tanha. Without using bhava tanha, you can't get rid of kama tanha. So, moralists never happy with just name tanha. So, even bhava tanha, they try to do away with. But the Buddha says, if you have a prick, to get rid of that prick, you have to have a subtler prick. From the prick only you can remove a prick. And the Buddha says, when you have the wooden the furniture, what the carpenters do is, after fixing to wood, they drill and put a wooden nail. Whenever the wooden nail is rotten, what the carpenter do is, keep another new needle and hit it, and then rotten one will get out. So likewise, kama tanha, you can't get it off unless otherwise you love bhava tanha. Unless otherwise you make use bhava tanha. Then bhava tanha is not your permanent friend. You replace the bhava tanha with vibhava tanha. And vibhava tanha level you have to understand everything is mind-made. And it is no transgressional kind of defilements, no obsessional kind of defilements, on the very subtle form, or so to say, your directed dispositions and perversions and the underlying tendencies are there. When you done away with kama tanha and bhava tanha, vibhava tanha level you understand whatever you desire, whatever you do willful is evil. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. Sabbe sankhara anicca. We are very familiar with sabbe sankhara anicca. Sankhara means volitional thing. Whatever you do, dukkha, anicca. Anything happen, almost nibbana. Let the things to happen. Why you are jumping and telling, I am the leader, I am the mother, I am the father, you must do as I interpret and this and that. And ultimately you are creating so much of trouble, but I am telling, kama tanha level, that is valid. Yes, you have to do. Bhavatanna level also you have not I, but the me, our. But in Vibhavatanna level you see it is a vested interest. You vested responsibilities upon you out of conceit, out of egotistic idea, out of your desire. And then you interpret others. This is the way missionaries are working. Missionaries telling you bloody fellows don't know the God. And without not knowing God is the worst thing. So I am representing God. But now you are in hell already. Be careful. Please come to my side. I will give you everything. This is how the worst thing in the world can happen. But the Buddha, it says, no one can save you. You have to understand 3 shadows within you. Kamatanna shadow, Bhavatanna shadow, Vibhavatanna shadow. All are attapattilava, Manome attapattilava, Sanyame attapattilava. And all the 3 are there. You tap one, others become invalid. Whatever you tap, depending on your discipline or your restraint. So, to give an example, whenever you are in the Kamatanha level, your eyes are open, visual objects are there. Ears are open, sounds are there. Nose is open, smells are there. Tongue is open, tastes are there. Body is sensitive and the tactile sensations are there. But how much difficult for you to understand when and where you see something, you can't hear. That is null and void. You can't smell, it is null and void. You can't taste, it is null and void. Your body never tactile sensation, not that tactile sensations are not there. They become null and void, one thing at a time. The common example is, when you back home tomorrow this time, you may be at home. And you may be starting the television. I mean, English medium is there, Sinhala medium is there, Tamil there, so much of channel. If you open one channel, what about the other channels? You can't see 2 channels at a time. Selecting one means rejecting so many. In the Vibhavatanha level, you never select, you let things happen, so there only you see the possibility, there only you see the potential. So as far as you desire, you select something, you are a mercenary. You don't know how much you are killing, how much you are do away with, how much partial is your knowledge is, because your selected one is overwhelming you. And it becomes my selection. And you are phrasing it, you don't know by selecting so much you reject. Whenever you allow everything to happen, or the mindfulness is carrying that character, let things happen. Don't be judgmental, don't select it, let the thing happen. As far as choicelessly you are aware, as far as you are non-judgmental, you are progressing. Understanding your judgmental mind, or the assuming mind is your task, not the Buddha's task. Don't think it is a bad habit. Don't think it is immoral. You're always choosy. And your children are also choosy. What to do? And present day, naturally, each and every child is hating parents. Who taught that? Each and every child hating parents. And the very nice observation they have done, I am not imposing you to accept it, but this is happened in the social surveys. This is earlier, when we were child, we hate our father. Now the present generation hate mother. It has been changed. For the last 40 years, the hatred shifted from mother to the father to the mother. So therefore, quoting that, His Holiness Dalai Lama told, if you do not wish a war in the world, mother must be restrained. Mother is the crucial factor now at home. You can stop the war at home. You have to understand parents are hating mothers. So after doing Satipasala, that means mindful school, one day, one of the facilitators, they have decided to do 1.5 hours program and they have done successfully and children gone. And then parents came. Luckily, she get a chance to talk with the parents. And the parents was really admiring what the facilitator is doing. And admire the facilitator asked, why? No, you don't know. This is my child. Under you, they are communicating at home. They are so arrogant. Never talk with the mother. Mother is the provider of everything. But they hate. But you come and mediate it in such a way, you give mindfulness so that the attention will be gone. And definitely I know back at home, they will be not so arrogant because your relationship like a mother, or I would say midwife, not the mother, it's a halfway wife, halfway mother, facilitators. And if you are selling other product than mindfulness, I know you also will be another mother. You receive the hate of the children. You have to teach mindfulness, just not to hate parents. So these are the underlying tendencies it is happening. You have to accept this bitter truth and non-judgmental. Evenly suspended attention and suspended decisions. Unassuming. Non-reaction. So these are the other shades of meanings of the mindfulness. So, but you will never see the value of pragmatic and practical aspects of it unless otherwise you apply mindfulness to the social level. Don't think that it is mindfulness only the meditation center or in the meditation cushion and the in-breath and out-breath. So when you are working with other people and other good and bad events, just don't judgmental, just let it happen. Anything judgmental means that volitional activity, the first time at the Schopenhauer only introduce it, each and every will is evil. So ultimately the whole Western thinking completely devastated. People claim him, recognize him as a destruction, nihilistic and negative. But he is simply interpreting sabbe sankhara anicca, nothing. He is telling sabbe sankhara dukkha. Sankhara means volitional thing. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. You see, after the age 6, you have no volition. So beautiful. Childlike psychology. And now you find very difficult to think even because your mind is so adamant. Because of your education. Because of your social status. Because of your recognition, this and that. How difficult to de-learn it. How difficult to go back to the psychology. And when you go back to child psychology, some Westerner says whole meditation is nothing but go to the child psychology. Japanese says the beginner's mind. Develop the beginner's mind. So it is not asking any qualification. All the qualifications are but negative. Whatever you assume is the negative thing. And whenever you try to get rid of, you see, they like koholla. It's like a sticky thing and the bubble gums, whatever you touch, you can't throw away because it is getting stuck. And what are you going to do at the deathbed? If you do not know in the living, you go to the nothingness and understand how to deal it with. Otherwise, at the deathbed or when you are going to sleep, what is the last thought? And that will appear next day morning. And in the death also the same. So when you are learning yourself to do nothing, or better be anesthetized, nothing. Oh, dementia. What a bliss. What a bliss. No boundaries. No in and out. So you see the phobia within that is called fear of freedom. That's called the neophobia. So not that Nibbana is far away. Whenever the Nibbana appearing, you develop kind of a phobia and try your open eyes and see your body. Or go for gross breathing. And ask Bhante, when such a thing happens, where can I find your address? Do you have email address? Or wherever you may be, can I have? No, you had. There was a recently Sri Lankan film, no address. So this is what the Buddha is teaching. So that means you are preparing for your death. And once familiarized, you know before the death this happens, you say, okay, well, welcome. Because this is something earned from my practice. And this is the least amount of defilement in my mind because no sanya. The sanya is the sanya nidhanani papancha sankha. All mental purification is based upon sanya. But the thing is, without killing you, without the death, you can do away with sanya to a certain extent so that you see the potential, you see the possibility. It is impossible because you have a phobia, you have a nauseatic feeling, you have allergic feelings. And each and every interview report, you can feel it. Each and every interview report, you can see whenever the progress happens, they develop doubt. They don't have the so-called faith. And this faith is not a simple superficial faith. It's a kind of a sacrificing thing, your body and the life also. And not mere gambling. You are developing mindfulness accordingly. You are developing sanya levels accordingly. And one by one you are shedding. It is like a shedding off of the worn out skin in the reptiles. And once it is done, definitely you rehearse the death before conventional death. So that is how you understand to give up while you are living. And your parents and family members will not be happy naturally. Because they have not exploited you enough yet. And that is why you cry when your parents are died. You have not exploited them enough. You have not got the enough dowry or the property, so much so you are crying. So while living, if you can live like yet another member, you can live, you can do away with yourself also, conceit also, and the desire also, not absolute, I am telling. To a certain extent, so whenever you put the null hypothesis, there is a self. And you try to see it in the Olarikatta Patilava. Analyze into the Rupa Vedana, Sanya, Thankara, Vijnana. You scrutinize and say in the Rupa there is no Atta. Vedana, and ultimately it goes to the Sanya level. Manome level, and there also you see null hypothesis is disproved. And when you go to the Sanya level, 99% disproved. So statistically, when you disprove something 95%, it is accepted. Not up to the 100%. No, never you can do in this on this earth. Statistical structure is you have to disprove something 95%. Then that is called the arahantship. And once you passed away, balance will happen. So therefore, don't go for absolute kevala or totality, the reduction. Comparatively, you are reducing your defilement. Comparatively, you are reducing the materiality or concrete nature, reducing the desire for the feeling, desire for the perception, and desire for the volition, and recognize yourself as not me and not me. When it is happening, you feel like lost. You feel like outcasted. You feel like nauseatic. You feel like allergic reaction or dementia, or that there are a lot of other diseases. Each and everything is created phobia from the medical science. So therefore, Mark Epstein is writing a book telling, if your psychiatrist is an egotistic person, what's the kind of healing he can do it for you? Instead, what about the psychotherapy without the self? Can't think. Because almost all psychotherapists are psychiatric disease. The patients, doctors themselves are psychiatrically imbalanced. How can they heal others? Because they don't know psychotherapy without the self. This is the secret in the Buddha. Look at the problem from the nothingness, not to have a higher egotistic idea or higher conceit or higher desire. Instead, see the problem from the psychotherapy without the self. Then you can see you are following a blind person. So, but here, the Olarikattapattlabha is a witnessing savya. You can have Manomayattapattlabha, Sannyamayattapattlabha, play in it. All the three ways, within one sitting, within one walking meditation, within one day, ultimately you find you are not recognizing either. You use it in a relative way, to get rid of gross, use it the subtle. To get rid of the subtle, use the subtlest. And again the subtlest will be replaced by gross thing. This is the way cycle is happening. This is the way progress is happening. So therefore, find is how difficult to communicate this bloody thing. Now we are talking 10 days. Talk after talk, then only we can take. So if someone to tell it is within 1 hour, what to do? Impossible. So it's a involved thing. It is a, gradual thing. So therefore we have to have that kind of outlook in our mind. Whenever you recognize your body as yourself, you are deprived of the jhanic experience or immaterial kind of thing, because you are always with the body. So tomorrow you will assume that duty. Recognize I am so and blah, 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 blah with all the mad world, and definitely you assume it. Then you say, Bhante, how can I have, because earlier I used to be with 10-20 minutes with the breath. When I go home, I can't be with the breath. Naturally. Sure. So therefore you have to have your livelihood. You have your likings and disliking. Understanding this without hating them, try to, so I would say put the signal to the right side and turn the vehicle to the left. That's the only way with this mad world. Amata signal dala dakuna kapano. Other people always they are racketeers. Whenever we express, they fix an agenda. And we are crucified. They have no way to move. So we have to say yes, but we go in the other way. And that is what I did to my parents. That is why I am a monk. Do you think that my beloved mother is going to say, oh, my good son, you go and become a monk? Never. You people, everyone, tackling your children with such an egotistic way. Never allow. Whenever they are going to go, they say something wrong with their mind. That's why one day they want to become a monk and kind of thing. Because you measure the situation from your likings and disliking. If you are a yogi, if you are ready to change, you find today I got trapped because I have set the trap for others. Learn the art now. Release the trap. Let the people have their own way. And if they ask help, don't think that I am bound with that, bonded with this other self. No, I am also innocent. I am also a beginner. I am also a childlike thing. So sharing. That sharing we call Kalyana Mitta. No teachers, no student relationship. Even the Buddha is telling Kalyana Mitta. So Buddha is also ready to accept. I am also a beginner. That is why he was so successful. He looked from the other's mind. He never assumed myself as a Buddha. He says, so Parker's point of view. Look at the problem from the Patachara's point of view. We can't do because of assumption. So therefore this Dasuththara Sutta, Venerable Sariputta is presenting in such a way, ultimately it says, not it's a mere matter of philosophical game. not the accumulation of knowledge. It has a direction. It's leading to emancipation. So therefore, whenever you practice and listen to it and analyze it, it is somewhat leading. It's called openaika, leading to the subtle to the subtlest. And if you feel it, simple advice is don't accelerate it. Let it happen in the natural course. Don't try to be smart. If you see groceries become subtle and subtle becomes subtlest, let that happen in the natural course. Don't try to be smart, because it has been accumulated and custom and conditioned our mind with aeons of years. Don't expect quickly to happen. If it is so, you may go mad. You become bipolar or schizophrenia. Very difficult. So when it is happening slowly, you understand relatively, so that you will not get psychological imbalances. So specifically when the sasana is there, you have faith, you have the morality, and you have the mindfulness. Take these three as the GPS. See the orientation, then you will get the address. Otherwise you will get addressless. You will go address. Without address, then you may be in panic or disturbed situation. I hope I am not leading you to panic. I hope I am not leading to the more and more stress. I hope that all the tools you have is quite enough. Nothing you need anything, because human mind and the human Atta-Padila is a fully equipped laboratory. Each and everyone, hope with the experience you have, the knowledge you have, you can assimilate your own middle path or the Noble Eightfold Path. With that wish in my mind, I would like to sum up today's talk, and it will be the end of the series also. Thank you very, very much for listening.